Oh, guys, good to hear. I am so excited. Guess what? I hope this isn't about your podcast again. Why? Did you finally listen to it?
The Groomer Next Door is recorded in front of a live studio audience. I was looking in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly to my surprise, he did the monster mash. He did the mash, the monster mash. The monster mash, it was a graveyard smash. He did the mash, get caught on in a flash. He did the mash, the monster mash. Whoa, from my laboratory in the castle east. Whoa, to the master bedroom with a vampire feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abode to get a joke from my electrode. He did the mash, the monster mash. The monster mash, it was a graveyard smash. The monster mash, get caught on in a flash. The monster mash. Whoa. Have a happy Halloween. And here's your host, my mommy and daddy, Chris and Stella Green.
Hello, pups and kittens, and welcome to episode 97 of the Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me is the ever laughing at me for my intro, Sarah.
Hello.
What was that? What was the,
So cheesy.
I wanted to go with the radio voice. Hello, and welcome back to KDW, and here on the morning radio show. Kind of garbage. You don't listen to a lot of podcasts.
It's very hard looking at you with your glasses on.
Oh, God. You know,
Especially when they need to be clean.
I wipe them down every time. I may have put my finger on it when I was putting them on. Okay, anyway. the people can't see what you're talking about.
Well, I can describe it pretty well.
You could. Well, this week we actually have a lot to talk about. Another jam-packed week that literally crippled us. Literally, physically, mentally, all of the above. Some really interesting stories to talk about, and I don't know.
It's a great way to stay in shape.
And it's a great way to stay in shape.
Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to repeat me? Like why?
Why do you have to take all my jokes? Right? I use a joke and you're like, I'm gonna use that.
Before he could.
Before I could use it again. I'll say something in the car and then she'll start laughing, and then we go somewhere when there's people around, then she'll use the joke and they all think that she's so funny and brilliant.
Because I execute the joke properly. And
yes, you do it in public so that people hear it come out of your mouth and not mine. That is smart.
Yes, thank you.
All right, let's dive into the weekly roundup.
The weekly roundup, yeehaw.
All right, this week on our weekly roundup. Well, let me start off. I'm going to start off the week in the best fashionable way. We attended the second walk this week to support our local police department. And
well, law enforcement. It's not just the police department. The sheriff, the surrounding areas,
state trooper, and we're not partial to one. We're partial to all. But of course, now you're gonna get to hear Sarah laugh. My pride was hurt terribly that day. Told you. Okay, so we went to and I'm still not over this. Surprisingly, I am still not over it. We went over to the walk, and the person that was putting it together, supposed to have their finger on the pulse of everything going on. So I went up to him and I said, "Hi, Chris Green," shook his hand, said, "I appreciate what you're doing and putting this thing together. And, I just wanted to, ask you if you wanted to go on record, put you on the podcast. You may have heard of us. Chris Green, I work over here. You do this podcast." He goes, "Nope, never heard of you," and walked away. I was offended by that. This guy should have seen us in the paper by now. We've been in 5 or 6 times in 1 year.
Okay. There's some people out there, believe it or not, there's some people out there that really don't give a care about animals. They don't hate them, but they're not going to be any kind of advocates for pets or anything that has to be animal related. If you notice too, the Facebook page that he moderates that really has a lot to do with Rolla in general, it has nothing on it about anything pet.
Well, I understand that.
It is only what Rolla used to be, what Rolla is going to be, and veterans.
And police.
Well, that's what I mean.
But
the people who've served.
But
and that's it.
But you can look at us.
I don't think that he's going to look at the Strut Your Mutt column and read it.
You're right on that one.
People aren't going, to look at certain things, and when he tells you to go interview one of the police officers, it's like we have multiple ones.
Done that, and
we raised money to buy a blow dryer.
That's what I didn't understand. Is that you should have seen us in there for that.
But for the most part, this guy, he has a one-track mind. He's not very. You can tell he's not very social. Or
that just killed me.
It was one of those. Well, okay, at least you know who does this now, and
I'm sure he's already forgotten.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If you're not law enforcement, if you're not in the military in some branch, you're not going to be on his radar.
I thought that. I was just like, what? I mean, look, I'm not arrogant about it by any means. I have a lot of pride to all that we're doing. I'm very proud of it, and I'm proud of the differences that we make. But I was just, when people come up and go, I've actually heard of you from the paper, like the assistant coach of our soccer team and Claire's principal and so on. When people say that, I shy up big time. Like, yeah, that's us.
But then
I appreciate
they all have
that.
something in common. Well, this guy had absolutely nothing in common. He honestly never once had posted anything or spoke about anything about animal welfare.
Okay, but if you want to go into law enforcement,
what I'm saying is that even animal control, he could care less.
I know.
And even though they're part of law enforcement,
that's where I was going to go to.
He could care less.
Oh.
So.
Devastated.
And you're getting upset, and you've gotten upset, and why I found it funny.
Okay, when you say upset, I was more down by it. Like, I was like, what?
Upset. You're upset.
There you go.
For not being acknowledged by somebody who has nothing to do with us.
He's supposed to have his finger on the pulse of everything Rolla.
If you were to call John from the shelter, or John Redshaw from the shelter, and you say who you are, and he goes, who? Yes, I would be extremely offended.
Well, that's another story that we'll talk about later on in the show. But no, he did not say, "Who are you?" Thankfully.
Well, that's what I mean. If Roy from the shelter, if we call and say, hey, Roy, it's Sarah over Shadowwood. Who? Where?
Yeah. Luckily, that wouldn't happen.
That would be very offensive and very upsetting.
Look,
but coming to somebody who, if you went up said to him, my name is Corporal, and you went on, or whatever rank you are, he would be all ears.
I don't think he would.
Yes, he would.
No,
he was to everybody else there.
True.
He was
okay,
all
right.
ears. He just melts in the presence of retired or active duty, and that's the kind of person he is. That's fine.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean,
because I am. I would love to hear stories from retired or currently serving. I would love to.
No, and I'm not downing him for being a big advocate for police.
That's why I was laughing. It's like you're putting stock in somebody that really.
No, it was the fact that I couldn't believe that being in publicly acknowledged for what we do as much as we have, and just the time that we've done it, I was just like, what? I can't believe this. But yeah, that was my Tuesday. And then Wednesday was the debacle. The worst debacle ever. That was like our Friday, not this past Friday, a week ago Friday. We had dogs coming in that weren't scheduled again. We had dogs that they changed up their appointment of what they wanted.
We did?
Yeah, Wednesday was our worst day. We walked.
Was?
Oh yeah. See, that's what I love. I love that. What?
Where was I?
You were there. We left at 6:30, and it was a rough one.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
I remember leaving at 6:30, but I don't know why.
Yeah, we were throwing down pretty hard. I don't know if we had a dog that wasn't supposed to show. I don't remember that, but it was people changing. And I have two things that I have to address for all of you pet owners taking your dog to a groomer. Two things. The first thing, please know what breed a dog you have.
Oh yeah.
That was Friday. But still, know the breed of dog. If it's an Aussie, it's an Aussie. But don't say it's a miniature Aussie. and I know for a fact that when he made the appointment was not for the groom that he wanted either. That was completely.
No, it was.
Really?
Yeah. No, what it was is, since I can articulate this a little bit better. A gentleman had an appointment for Friday morning, and then he calls back to ask to get the dog out before noon. And we have to say, well, what kind of dog is it, for one? And two, if it's good. But if it's a large dog that's being bad, then no, there's no way. You're going to have to reschedule to a day where the dog can stay for a longer period of time. And so, why is it when I start talking, everybody just starts yelling?
Well, it's the audience. All right, come on, audience members, calm down. This is a live show we're doing.
So, anywho, he says that his dog's a miniature miniature Australian Shepherd. Well, miniature Australian Shepherds shouldn't get any more than 25 pounds. And he needs the dog out right away. I'm like, okay, most of the time, yes, they're hyper, but they're pretty good dogs. And they're small, so yes, we'll get them out by noon. He brings the dog in, and it is a standard size Australian Shepherd that's overweight.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, hair. Cousin it hair. Hair.
This totally thick. So then I said, well, he's a little bit bigger. I don't know if we can get him out by noon. Well, you said that on the phone. I said, this is...
You also said the wrong breed on the phone.
He goes, well, the breeder told me it was a miniature Australian Shepherd. My other Aussie was almost twice the size. Well, then you probably had a collie.
Yeah, right?
Not an Aussie.
Wait, there's a difference?
Oh my gosh. So
that's what I've noticed lately.
I was starting to get a little frustrated because I don't like being taken advantage of. And groomers shouldn't be taken advantage of by people. All because they're paying me money to do something doesn't mean I'm their slave. It does not mean that I am their...
Yes.
Witch with a capital B, you know? I'm not there to own. I'm there to give your dog excellent care and excellent haircut. So that means you need to bend to what I need you to do in order to get my expertise.
Well, to get the right information to book an appointment, especially for a dog, and I would imagine a hairstylist would have the same issue. They're booking their appointments, and if somebody came in and said they wanted something that was extravagant, but, in the appointment they said it was going to be something a lot less, that hairstylist would be completely effed over.
Or the other way around. They wanted all this cut, color, perm, everything. And all they wanted was just a cut.
A slight trim, yeah.
A little trim that's going to take you, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you had them set for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, that would throw you off.
Yeah, and then you just lost a ton of money. Well, a miniature Aussies are supposed to be small.
Yes.
This dog was huge. And then I asked,
I
said, what would you like? Well, I want them brushed out. I need the ears trimmed. Like, okay, did you want the feet and legs trimmed? He goes, yeah, and that's pretty much it. I'm like, okay, well, we'll just trim the ears and the feet and brush them out. Okay, we'll have them done by noon. He goes, no, I need stuff off the body. What? You just said ears and feet.
I
that's
heard
it.
that too. Yeah.
And he goes, no, I wanted about I want to leave about 4 inches on the body. Dog grooming clippers do not leave 4 inches. The highest guard comb that you can go is an E guard comb. You can go to an F, but the F is so ridiculous that it is just pointless to use. I use it to skim down skirts that are long. That tells you what an F guard comb does. So I'm like, well, the best I can do and what I'm willing to do, I can leave it about 2 inches.
And you really couldn't tell. I mean, when you could tell that you did a trim on it.
Once it was done, it was only about 1.5 inches.
But it looked fine. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, the dog's bald. No, it was.
It was still fluffy.
Yeah, it was still fluffy. It's still put together. But
please articulate what you want to your groomer.
Yes.
Let them know. Don't think any item that you want done is so insignificant, because it could mean a very important thing.
Very much.
If I would have just stopped talking to him after he said the words, "Oh, that's pretty much it," he would have had something he would not want.
Right.
I had to continue asking. Sometimes getting a haircut from a groomer or from owners,
the description
is like pulling teeth.
Yep.
On an angry alligator. It's terrible. Because once you start asking questions, people start looking at you like, "Are you stupid?"
Well,
and it gets kind of annoying.
Ever look at those questions you're asking? You're asking a question because the answer previous to the previous question was a little insignificant, or it was a little stupid. So you have to ask a dumb question to kind of understand what they're thinking. Oh boy.
Well, when they said, "I want my dog short, but not too short." Okay, there are 4 different shortcuts. There are 3 different medium-sized cuts, and there are a ton of long cuts. So short but not too short could be many different things. So you gotta tell me, I want about 1/2 inch left on. Okay, I'll leave a 1/2 inch left on. I want my dog buzzed. I don't want shedding anywhere. Okay, fine. But be prepared if the hair doesn't grow back right. Anywho, you got to let us know. If you just say, "Oh, just groom them." Groom them means nothing. Do whichever you want. I'm sorry, honey, you don't want me doing whatever I want, because this dog will definitely look funny. Because I would love to do all sorts of creative grooming without your go-ahead. You tell me what I want to do, I'll do it.
But then you're going to come back and you're probably going to have a groom that you were like, "Whoa, do it again." Yeah, so that's the first.
I've only had one person in my entire grooming career that meant it. Do what
I actually have heard somebody tell you that here, where they said, do what you do. I think is how they put it. And
yeah, well then that is more or less, work your magic. Okay, I'll make the dog look good. A generalized meaning of looking good.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's recap this. Know your breed.
Know what you want.
Know what you want. Now that means when you call and set that appointment, make the appointment and don't change it when you get there. That's 2 weeks now. I've had dogs come in that have, I know for a fact, have changed it up as we've gone. And the third is, again, I say this all the time, walk your dog before you drop them off, especially the morning dogs. I find that the morning dogs are the ones that you can tell rushed out of the house because they're running behind. Maybe they have to get the kids to school. They grab the dog really quick, put it in the car, get out, and then once that dog gets to the salon, right in the kennel. Oh.
Yep.
And, the worst, I say this all the time. This is the PSA I give everybody. The worst part is that when we have to clean up after the dog, if we just bathe the dog, and it's clean, and it did tap dancing and pee, or pooped and stepped all in that, the entire body is going to have it. So then it's a rewash. That means all the other dogs that we have to get to next have to go on hold because we had to rewash a dog. Oh my gosh, that's hard.
Right, it's not just, "Oh, your dog pooped the kennel." No, your dog pooped the kennel. It stepped in it. It got all in between its toes and all over, or they peed in the kennel and got it all over.
Yep.
So that means they have to get rewashed. And beforehand, I would never really charge for it, because at my last salon, that set of customers, walk the dog in front first before they brought
Yes.
him in. We hardly ever had an accident in the kennel because those set of customers walked him outside. Well, when you get here, we have a set of customers that are having a busy life. They're in a busy life that they didn't have time to walk it before they have to go to work. Well, unfortunate side is we try to get the dogs outside into our little play pen out in a small breed area.
A little play yard.
Yeah, a play yard so they can go and do their business before they go in the kennel. But if there's a lot of dogs coming in all at once, we can't do that. And then they make an accident in the kennel. Now we're starting to charge for it because it interrupts our entire day. I could be working on an express groom where I need to get this dog done and out. I could
have a big dog in the kennel, and I'm washing it, out of the kennel in the tub, and I'm doing a big dog, and all of a sudden this dog now just goes everywhere. That means you got to clean the kennel, and that's a job. I mean,
sometimes we don't have room to just stick them into another kennel.
That's the whole thing. So they're gonna either stand there while we.
And then it takes two people, one to watch the dog in the tub, or the second tub that we have if it's small.
Yep.
One to watch the dog in the tub, and then one to clean the kennel.
Yep.
Because we don't have another kennel to throw them in, or not throw them, excuse me, that's a horrible term. Another kennel to place them in. And it's okay if you dirties that one up, because once I get the other one clean and you're done with the tub, I can get that dog in there. And then, I have to clean up 2 kennels instead of 1, but still the dogs are safe and sound.
Well, look at Craig. Craig this week, he had a dog. He completed it. It was ready to go home, and he does split days. And look at that dog went to the bathroom in the kennel.
Yeah, luckily.
Luckily, it didn't step in it.
Yeah, luckily. It didn't step in at that time.
But it left a mess.
Yeah, we're starting to charge for it because it just takes so much time out of our day. And then it's so difficult when we're ready to work on that said dog. And we go back to get him out of the kennel and he has, or she has poo all over their legs. I'm like, I have nothing else to work on except for you.
So now I'm delayed for a half hour.
15, 20 minutes. So I rewash the feet.
Rewash, dry, make sure that it's ready, because what you can't do clipper work if they're wet. So you gotta wait.
What about that dog that wasn't able to be force dried? It had to be kennel dry.
Oh.
And it pooed its kennel and stepped in it. So I was ready to walk the dog or work on the dog. And now, since you can't blow dry, you have to wait for it to air dry.
Yeah, that's why we're averaging right now. I would say 1.5 dogs, and I mean that when I use the word average, some days could be 3 dogs, some days could be 4 dogs, and the next day would be 1. So about 1.5 to 2 dogs doing this a day. It's become really rough. So
we probably won't charge much, $2 for a cleanup fee, but
it's the same thing as a dog walker would do. So that's kind of where we're at.
If you take your kid to childcare,
yes,
you pay extra if you have to change diapers.
I have a real good example to this. If you didn't have a chance to take your dog for a walk before, tell the groomer, because then they can, we have the luxury of that actual play yard. We can let it go out there and go to the bathroom. That would suffice everything.
Yep.
So, yeah. Well, I think that concludes our weekly roundup. What do you think?
That was a nice little rant.
It was. All right, let's move on to a moment with Claire.
Buddy, your boy, make a big noise. Playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace. Kicking your can all over the place. We will rock you. And now, a moment with Claire.
Hello, Claire. It is October 10th, 2015, and you just finished your 4th soccer game of the season. How did it go?
Good.
Tell me about it.
We had a tie at soccer game when it was over.
Yeah, you guys did have a tie. First half of the game, you guys were down 3-0 by half, and you guys were really feeling a little bit bad. It was really odd because you guys have been dominating out there, and then you guys came back in the second half, and you were great.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened.
So I was trying to keep the ball straight, but then I couldn't kick it straight.
Straight, yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys just played great defense, and you guys came out with a tie.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. You know what?
What?
We don't have to win. It's all about just playing.
And having fun.
It's having fun and not winning.
But you guys do win.
We win like 3 of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you guys are starting to get your pictures taken so that at the end of the season there's going to be a nice little
Picture taken?
Yep. So you guys will have something to remember, and then the video that I'm gonna have on YouTube, and I'm actually just gonna put that actually on our actual YouTube channel so anybody can watch it. I decided this week. I was like, I'll put it on there in case anybody wants to see you guys. So what else do you want to talk about? Nothing? That's it?
Nothing.
Yeah, poor little Claire here has been sick this week. And you took a fall this week as well.
Yeah, but now my hand is feeling good, my left hand.
Yeah? Yeah, you poor thing. You couldn't really even practice on Thursday. You were hurt so bad. That was really bad. A really rough week for you.
Yeah, but then I controlled it on game time.
Yep.
It didn't fall.
Yep, you didn't fall. You had it wrapped, and you were good. So, and you feel good now, right?
I don't have to wrap it at school.
Yep, that's cool. All right, honey. Well, thank you.
By skill, can't play on the monkey balls.
Probably not.
I still have to play iPads in the classrooms.
Yeah. Well, you're off on Monday, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, only on Tuesday.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for joining us again for a moment with Claire. You want to say goodbye?
Bye-bye.
Well, that was a moment with Claire, and I can't believe we're already 4 games out. 1 more to go. Season's ending. Oh, you start the season and you go, gosh, I'm tired. It's so hard to do this. But man, once you get started, it's the greatest moment ever. So, I'm kind of sad that we're at the cusp of ending, but yeah.
Well, yeah, right when we start getting used to and into the swing of things, everything starts getting good, starting to work together as a team, and then we stop.
Yep, and it happens all the time.
I think a 4-week or 5-week, game or 5 games is so ridiculous.
Yeah, I wish it was 10. I wish it was 10 at least. 10 in the spring, 10 in the fall. I understand that they don't want to do it during December because of the heat, but oh God, I miss that. All right. Well, let's move on to G&D News. All right, and welcome to G&D News for this week. This week we have 2 stories. Story number 1 comes from Minnesota. Dogs are going missing, and I've been actually watching this lately. It's not just Minnesota. It's a lot of different areas. There's also been a ring of dog theft, missing dogs in Nashville and throughout Tennessee. So I'm almost afraid that this could be one of those situations where people are grabbing dogs, especially your larger dogs, and doing what they call dog fighting in a trunk. That's my biggest fear. A lot of this stuff happens where they put 2 dogs in a trunk to fight. And I'm not saying that this is what the case is, but it's one of those weird things. But it keeps dog fighting mobile. Nobody would know what's happening. So I'm hoping that that's not the case. But dogs going missing has become really big lately, and
we've had a really bad spat of it out here.
Yeah.
Where people were taking purebreds out of the yards and selling them again, making money off it. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah, that is also the other option. So let us play that clip so you can hear it, and we'll discuss briefly. Claire, play the clip.
Police are asking residents of northeast Minneapolis to stay alert after 3 dogs were reported stolen from the area. KARE 11's Ivory Hecker has details on the thefts and how you can keep your pet safe.
Minneapolis police say all 3 dogs were reported stolen from the same area just in the last 3 weeks.
It's a dog. It's not just, a phone or something. We wouldn't care about a phone, but he was our dog. And
Brooke Red Bear's 4-month-old pit bull Kingston went missing September 22nd. Police say someone broke into her home on 6th Street Northeast and stole him. Then, last weekend, another dog theft. This one just blocks away from the last, on Marshall Street.
I never cried so hard about an animal.
Police say BB was stolen from her owner Kashara's front yard while tied to a leash.
Like that.
The thief apparently unclipped and removed the small dog from her harness, leaving the harness behind.
This is a real tight fit, like she can't get out of that.
Fortunately, BB was returned after Kashara posted her picture on the website petamberalert.com. Then police reported a third dog stolen after it went missing from Central Avenue Northeast. The owner tells us she later found her dog. As for Brooke, she's still hoping for answers and for Kingston's safe return.
we just hope that he's not, being hurt.
Police say microchipping your pets is a good way to track them down if they do go missing. And police are advising anyone in the northeast Minneapolis area to call 911 if you witness suspicious activity. In Minneapolis, Ivory Hecker, KARE 11 News.
Good advice. Thank you, Ivory.
All right. So as I had mentioned leading up to the actual story, a few of the dogs had been recovered right away, which is great. Unfortunately, the pit bull was still missing. That's why I'm always afraid of these. I would love to use the word, but you could just kind of fill in the gap there. That love to actually abuse dogs and do all this stuff. It's just, hopefully this lady actually gets her dog back. Gosh, it kills me to know that could happen. So, you want to add anything on that one?
It's sickening.
There's
Just
a lot of garbage
sickening.
out there.
For the breed of the pup that's happening, I mean, it could happen to any dog. The dog could either be a fighting dog or a bait dog. The dog could be sold off to others. And it's insane. I would really watch who you're buying dogs from. I would really watch, take it to the vet, have it scanned for a chip.
Yeah.
Don't meet somebody in some back alley for this animal. Make sure you get some kind of contact information that you can get a hold of these people.
Right.
Because it would be horrible if you go and you buy a dog, you're buying stolen property.
Right.
And you take it to the vet, it gets scanned for a chip, and all of a sudden there's information here. This dog is not yours. You have no paperwork saying it's yours, other than one vet visit. So,
Yeah, that's rough.
it happened. There was a real bad spat here in Rolla. We just had a customer come in and said that she was one of the victims of it. They stole her little Yorkie out of her front yard.
And I imagine Yorkies would be one of those little breed dogs that you would actually sell pretty quickly.
Most people who live in the city or live in high populated areas, they would say, well, why would you let your dog outside by itself with no one around it? That's how I thought.
Yeah.
When we lived in California, you would never dare let your dog go outside without you there. You never let your dog stay out on a leash without anybody watching them. You kept an eye on your dog. That was your property. You don't let your nice TV sit out front.
Well, that's one of the
it's gonna
things.
get stolen.
One that I can't understand is I see kids actually running around outside unsupervised. That
See,
kind of almost has the same mentality for me.
it is. Children shouldn't be left unattended, and a dog should not be left unattended. Now, the thing is, where we live, they are behind the times, but they're not at the same time. They're still holding on to that last grip of freedom that is being ripped away from all of us, that most of us have lived our entire life in, so we don't know any better. But the folks out here who have 40 acres, and folks, 40 acres is a lot.
It is a lot.
Of property. A couple acres is a lot of property. And if their dog is allowed to roam the entire property, that's freedom. The dog comes back, they feed, they eat and stuff, and they're put away at night so, large animals don't get them. Well, it's the same thing with children out here. They can go play off in the woods because they know they'll be back. And the parents know what part of the woods they like to play in. So if they are missing, they go out to it. Well, unfortunate side is that even though they're holding on to the last bit of freedom, the other part of the world's catching up and showing why you can't have those last bits of freedom. A little boy going missing. You know, it's absolutely heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking when a pet goes missing. Well, you can't leave animals alone anymore. And it's starting to get worse and worse. Now it's, instead of you be able to leave your animal alone inside a city property, well, you can't now. There's too many people. So then you have to go to the outskirts where you're outside of the county. Then now that's even getting bigger. I mean, Raleigh in general is expanding, and it's expanding rapidly. So it sucks giving up your freedoms and your pets' freedoms, your kids' freedoms, but as we all reproduce, this is what's going to happen.
Very true. All right, now on to our next story. There was a little bit more kind of hitting home for me when I actually heard about this story. It was a story about emaciated dogs, and we have a real good story to actually tell you. It happened right after we recorded last episode. Right after, literally. So I'm going to have Claire play this clip, and then we're going to discuss briefly what happened on the story, but we're going to actually tell you a live story that we actually encountered. So Claire, play that clip.
The photo is heartbreaking. A mother and her 3 young pups appearing listless and emaciated.
I think emaciated is like an understatement. It was just literally skin and bones. The puppies look no more than 5 months old.
Jeanette Gonzalez sent us the photo using the hashtag ABC7Eyewitness. She had posted the photo on Facebook and Instagram Tuesday afternoon after she received it from a friend who noticed the dogs in the backyard of a home on Kaufman Pico Road in Pico Rivera. The post quickly went viral, with dozens of people sharing their outrage and offering to help.
I had already contacted the shelter, made sure that they were getting taken out of the premises, but I think it just needed more than that, because sometimes even shelters don't do the best of the work. They do what they can.
The Southeast Area Animal Control Authority in Downey confirms they removed the mother and her 3 puppies, plus 5 other dogs found in the home Tuesday, and have opened an animal cruelty investigation. This afternoon, sheriff deputies were at the home. We tried to speak with the owners of the dogs, but they declined to comment. Meantime, neighbors say they can't understand why anyone would neglect their pets to the extent these dogs appear to have been.
It's horrifying. I mean, there's a lot of animal lovers in this city, and just to see that happen somewhere where I grew up, like literally down the street, makes you feel horrible.
There are good people in Pico. We love our animals, and I just can't fathom this going on.
And this afternoon, the Southeast Area Animal Control Authority tells us they cannot release any more details of the case because of the pending investigation. In Pico Rivera, Giovanna Lotta, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And that story was shared with us using the hashtag ABC7Eyewitness. If you see news happening or you have a story you'd like us to know about, just post it to social media with that hashtag.
Okay, so emaciated dogs, Pico Rivera. This is kind of old territory for me. You really didn't go to that part of Los Angeles, I don't think. Pico Rivera's, you know, it was great back in the 50s, 60s.
I was told to stay away.
Yeah,
Stay away.
Yeah, when I was a kid, you really didn't go out that way. I think it's cleaned up a lot since. I mean, during the 80s and 90s, oh man, that was the ghetto.
It was my mom telling me, you don't go to Pico Rivera. You stay out of LA in general. You stay away from Fountain Valley.
Wait, I thought your dad said stay out of LA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay out of Fountain Valley. Stay out of Long Beach.
Oh yeah, you stay out of Long Beach. Everybody stays out of Long Beach.
Stay out of Downey.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, Sarah, stick with Fullerton, Placentia. Stick with Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, any of the rich areas. You stay there. Just don't go to Santa Ana. You know, don't go here, don't go there. I'm like, oh my gosh. It was bad. They were so overprotective of us. Like, when we lived in Santa Ana, they sent me and my brother to live with my cousins up in Fullerton, so we didn't have to be in the heart of Santa Ana.
Yeah. All right. So let us actually dive into our interactions with a very similar story that happened to us. So you were actually contacted from somebody that we work with. We actually work next to. And when I say work with, not actually in our place of business, but we work with them in helping dogs and cats who are in need.
It's the rescue world.
Yeah, there's a good way of putting it.
You know, they're not people we'd hang out with, but they're people that if there's an animal in trouble, we all band together and we put all of our personal, BS aside to take care of that said animal. And that's what happened here. I got a call from someone saying that something's going, or I didn't get a call. She posted it on Facebook.
Is that how it was? Okay.
And I saw it, and they told me the address. I'm like, oh, that's just up the street, like literally up the street from me. I posted on there. I'm like, look, Chris and I are heading out now to go take a look. And is there anything I need to be aware of before I go? Could there be somebody on property? Are they violent? Are the dogs running loose?
Is it pushed back? I mean, you have a lot of questions.
Am I walking into a no trespassing zone? All this other stuff, right? Well, they said just that the complaint came from somebody who said that the house has been vacant for the past 4 days and the dogs are emaciated and the property is disgusting and there's fowl on there, meaning birds. Not foul as in disgusting.
Right.
There is a difference.
Well, sometimes.
So we hop in our SUV and we head over there. I have absolutely nothing with me. I'm taking a look at the situation first.
I had a lead.
Yeah, we both had a lead.
Yeah.
And we were prepared to lasso dogs. That's one thing you gotta be very proficient in our line of work is learning how to lasso.
Right.
And it's much like lassoing a horse or being on a horse and lassoing, the cows or steer or whatever. You gotta get your lead and be able to throw it around their neck and pull it at the same time to where it tightens around their neck. And it's easier to make sure you don't get hurt that way.
Right.
So we were both prepared to do that. You went over to the neighbor as we pulled up to this absolutely dump of a house.
We first arrived on scene, and it was, we looked around, we could tell that the dogs were actually tied up. So that gave us indication that, okay, well, we're not in any immediate danger because the dogs aren't going to run wild. The house was right off the street, so it wasn't like we were driving down a dirt road or anything. On the who knows what property, missing any purple spray painted trees, which in this area, if you pass a purple spray painted tree, that means trespassers beware. We will be able to do whatever we want if you cross this path. There was none of that, but there was a nice house next door. So as Sarah was,
I don't want to call it nice, but
nicer next door. So I went over to the actual other house because I saw a car in the driveway, and I was like, okay, I'll go and I'll ask, what's going on in that house? Have they seen people? The little questions. Knocked on the door, and there was a guy who answered. He said there was people that had been living in the house, so no big deal. So I went back over to you, and you're like, hey, there's a duck in a cage. There's a chicken
run around. There's a chicken in a cage.
Yeah. There's, but there was no water. And there was no food. So we were like, okay, well, we see the situation. We don't have anything with us, any food or anything. So we decided to head back home. Go on.
Well, then I finally get in a place where I get cell reception. And I called the person back and said that, all right, well, there's 2 dogs on property. One does not have water, and the ground is not wet around it, so it's not like it just dumped the water. It's been without water for a while. I said, but there's kibble, scattered on the ground, so they must have been a little too hyper and dumped a bucket everywhere.
Well, there was only around one of the dogs.
That I could see the other one might have ate the rest of the
Possible,
bone.
Yeah.
So there's kibble actually scattered, so there is food. I let him know that the one is extremely thin, where you can see a lot of bones, but not to the point where it has no energy. It's moving around, it's barking, it's jumping. And then the other one looks to be thin, but still pretty, solid.
Yeah, that is in bad shape.
Yeah, they're both pit bulls or type dogs. There's a lot of different type of bully breeds. And I said they look like they could use a meal. So I just asked her what we could do, and I said no matter what, those dogs are going to eat, whether or not I have to go on trespassing. If I had to go trespassing to feed these animals, I'm going to trespass. I got enough police friends that will help me if something were to happen. And I don't think a judge is going to condemn me for trying to help somebody.
And that's one thing that I was like, okay, well, let's do this. Let me contact a couple of my friends, animal control, and I'll contact law enforcement and see, if what the law says in our part. So luckily, very fortunate, was able to get back with one of our contacts. And he said, Good Samaritan law says, you can go and do this, but I recommend going up to the door, knocking on the door, see if there's anybody there, and ask permission first. If there's nobody there, then you can go and do this. So we were very fortunate, and we knocked on the door. There was somebody there. To our surprise,
it was some kind of either a late teenager, early adult. She answered the door, and we just said that we're the Groomer Next Door, and we've been sent out to see if your pets might need some food, and we have some boiled chicken, we have some fantastic food we would love to leave for your pets, and awesome water bowls for your pup too. Did you need any assistance?
And she's like, no, we just fed them this morning.
Yeah, they've already been fed for today.
So, we did what we could. We you contacted your contact, and I
explained to them that there was somebody there. They had electricity in the house. They were watching TV. When we walked up, they were laughing and stuff like that. So they're there with more than just the basic necessities of a roof over their head.
Right. So, it's one of those things, I know that there had been, because you heard it, I had heard about it, there had been some issues in the area, but I don't know what had happened. And,
I guess it was basically a neighbor getting mad at another neighbor for how trashy the house is.
Was it this house or a different house?
This house was so trashy that they're trying to do whatever they can to get these people out.
Okay.
So they can either get the house demoed, because it is so trashed. I mean, this place is disgusting. But I looked at some of the other houses, even the trailer down the way a little bit. Anybody that would be considered a neighbor to this house, they're all trashy.
Yeah, well.
But here they are poking at each other. Instead of being a good neighbor and coming together and helping, they're going to sit there and pick and pick and pick and pick until they can get these people forced out of their house. I mean, this place is disgusting. This place, I'm surprised. They had garbage bags around the doors.
Yeah, it was
cigarette packs everywhere.
Yeah, they opened up the door. You could smell smoke, cigarette smoke.
It was disgusting. And I swear this girl looked like she was in high school.
I swear she was, yeah. So, well, so that kind of shows, I guess a third story on top of our GND news. Anything you want to add on that?
No.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. You have to stay vigilant of the animals around you, just like you have to stay vigilant for signs of child abuse.
Right.
You suspect something, you say something.
Yep.
Now, you have to make sure your motives are clean. And your motives have more purpose than just you don't like those parents.
Right.
Or you don't like the way they're keeping up their house. No. If the dogs are seriously being abused, you need to seriously say something.
Yeah. There has to be a gray area. You have to be right in that neutral area. No black, no white. Yeah.
Exactly. You have to be neutral when, deciding it's time to call, child services, animal services, and turning people in. Because, my brother, he was allergic to flea bites, so he would scab over really bad. And then my other brother fell off of his bike and smashed his face in. He fell off his bike and hit a curb, and the entire side of his face smashed in. Well, child services were called on my parents because they were each stepson to one of my parents. The parent my brother, who's my dad's son, who has the scars from the flea bites or bug bites, thought that the person told him that my mom was putting her cigarettes out on his arm. And then my other brother, who smashed his face in, they called social services saying that my dad beat him. And that wasn't it. So you have to really focus and make sure you see, is it really abuse? Or are you just so ticked off at the person you just wanted to get him in trouble no matter what?
Yeah. All right, that concludes G&D News for this week. And now on to our game show that is sweeping the nation.
Oh my god.
Name that breed.
Guess the breed. With your host, Chris Green.
All right, are you ready to play Name That Breed?
Yes.
Wow.
Bring it.
You know, I've heard better contestants that are on brand new talk shows. So
Well, you never give me anything when I win.
I'll give you a high five. All right, now
I'll return it to your face.
All right, this one I chose this breed for one of our listeners that this is her breed of choice and real big supporter of our podcast. So I decided I was going to actually choose this breed.
What's her name?
I'm not telling you. Okay, this breed is a large breed of dog which was developed in England from early herding types of dog.
They developed dogs?
Yes. The can grow a very long coat with fur covering the face and eyes. Do you have a guess?
Old English Sheepdog.
I just threw that out, didn't I?
Yes.
I did.
No, you didn't say the name.
Did I just say it?
No,
Okay, good.
There's not very many dogs that have hair coming straight out from over their eyes.
I was gonna go. This dog is not hypoallergenic. The lifespan is 10 to 12 years. Higher classification is dog, which I thought was a funny little thing. The temperament is playful, adaptable, bubbly, intelligent, loving, sociable, and the female height is 20 to 22 inches. Male is 20 to 24 inches.
You want to know a funny fact?
I would love a funny fact. You are correct. It is the Old English Sheepdog.
I have never met a female Old English Sheepdog.
Really?
Never once have I ever met a female Old English.
Wow. Well,
I've only groomed males. And I've groomed a handful. I mean, they're not exactly popular, but I've groomed my fair share. And they've all been males, and they've all been neutered.
Interesting. Well, thank you for playing Name That Breed. Alright, and now we are on to our main story of the week. Now, this was something that came to you from our German Shepherd owner?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. At least I got that right.
Judy has several beautiful German Shepherds.
They are awesome.
They're just stunning. They are gorgeous. They're loving. They're absolutely as sweet as pie. Don't touch their nails or ears, but they're sweet as pie.
But, well, okay, we're able to.
We're one of the only people that have ever been able to trim their nails without them flipping out.
Yeah, it's weird. All right, so the point of the story is, what's gastropexy? Now,
Gastropexy.
Plexy?
Yes.
Really? Whatever. What is it? Is it plexy or pexy?
Plexy?
I don't know.
There was an L in there.
I thought there was too. Anyway, what is it? Well, you know what? We have a full definition of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you guys a clip of the full advantage of it, of understanding what's the cause and how it is.
Just understand what it is, because I'm pretty sure nobody knows what we're talking about right now.
Nobody ever knows what we're talking about.
So we'll just say,
listen to the clip. Claire, play that clip.
Gastric dilation volvulus, GDV, or bloat. Commonly called bloat, GDV is a life-threatening emergency in which gas and fluid become trapped in the stomach. It is most common in large, deep-chested breeds such as golden retrievers. Symptoms of bloat include distension of the abdomen, unproductive attempts to vomit, excessive salivation, and restlessness. A dog with these symptoms needs to be taken to the emergency clinic immediately. Not tomorrow, not in 2 hours, but now. No home treatment is possible. The veterinarian will try to pass a tube into the stomach so gases can escape. escape, but often this isn't possible because the stomach has twisted and turned. The rotation of the stomach cuts off the blood supply to the stomach wall, which will kill the dog if surgery isn't performed very quickly. Other organs may also be affected. During surgery, the veterinarian should tack the stomach in place to prevent further rotation. If the tacking procedure isn't performed, dogs will continue to bloat in the future. In the largest study of GDV to date, several factors relating to GDV emerged. Dogs that are underweight, fearful, excitable, and fast eaters, and that eat only one meal a day are more likely to suffer from bloat. On the other hand, dogs that are happy, have stable temperaments, and dogs that eat some canned food and table scraps are less likely to bloat. The dogs at greatest risk are those with a close relative that had GDV, suggesting a genetic component.
Laparoscopic gastropexy reduces gastric dilatation volvulus, also known as GDV, or bloating in large breed dogs. Many large-chested dogs are prone to a digestive disorder called GDV or bloat. The condition occurs when the dog's stomach fills with gas and twists, cutting off blood and oxygen to the stomach. This condition is extremely painful and, if not treated urgently, will result in death. Consequences of not addressing gastric bloating can be devastating. Studies show dogs with gastric bloat that don't undergo a gastropexy have recurrence rates of more than 70% and a mortality rate of 80%. Prophylactic gastropexy surgery is recommended by many veterinarians. This procedure attaches the stomach to the abdominal wall to prevent twisting of the stomach. Many pet owners choose to have this procedure performed at the same time of a spay or neuter. This procedure can be performed using minimally invasive techniques that offer the patient the following: decreased anesthesia time, smaller incisions that reduce risk of infection, less scarring and pain postoperatively, quicker return to normal activity. This procedure is frequently performed as an outpatient procedure. This procedure can be performed during a spay or neuter procedure.
Alright, now one thing that we have to mention is on the types of breeds. We were actually discussing this before we actually recorded. You were really wanting to be specific on breeds. Pretty much.
Well, I don't have to be specific on breeds.
Well, you were being specific with me.
But they only listed a few.
Right.
And there's so many more dogs that can have this problem. He didn't even mention golden retrievers.
Yep.
You know,
or Akitas.
Akitas. He didn't mention Great Pyrenees. He didn't mention Swiss Mountain Dogs or Bernese Mountain Dogs. He didn't mention any of them.
Right.
Just a couple. Bloat can happen in so many dogs. I would research and find out for yourself if your dog is vulnerable to bloat. And if you can afford this procedure, Judy said it's really not all that expensive, considering how expensive it would be to go and fix them.
Yeah, to treat bloat.
Can.
Yeah, we've had a couple dogs come in with bloat, and it could be a problem.
Yeah, they didn't come in with bloat.
No.
No. No, we've had one that
the hard belly is what I was thinking of.
Yeah, she wasn't suffering from bloat. That was cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, that was something different. We've had a few of our customers pass away from bloat.
Okay. I get confused easy.
Yes. That would have benefited from this procedure of tacking the stomach to the wall of the abdominal area, so it didn't start twisting up. Bloat is also known as twisted gut. They had the technical term for it. Find what you can do to prevent bloat, and then go on with this procedure. It's a quick procedure. Judy said that it isn't a big deal. The dogs get over it real quickly, and do it young.
Yeah, like they said, do it when you're actually getting your dog spayed or neutered. Mm-hmm. That's the best time because they're already in that area, and it's all one shot.
And if for some odd reason you don't want your dog spayed or neutered, when you go in for a dental cleaning, that's a good time too. The dog's are already, knocked out. You can just go in and get it done then too. 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing. And
it's slow. And one thing that will stop bloat is a slow feeder.
Slow feeders are extremely important for extremely active eaters.
Yes.
We have dogs that come in for boarding who they either have to fight for their food for another dog, so separating your 2 dogs to eat is always a good idea. because the one dog's scarfing food down because they think they're not going to get it. Or slow feeder. Slow feeder are particular bowls that have designs in them that are three-dimensional, that pop up. So the dog has to use their tongue to get down there to get the food out. It slows them down. It takes them longer to eat. As long as they don't try to tip it, then it works excellent. The better food that you feed your dog, get away from the Walmart brands. Go and find a specialty store that has the specialty foods. Our store, we do not sell anything that you can buy at Walmart. We don't sell it at our store. So if you can find a specialty store that doesn't sell anything you can find at Walmart, then you know you're into good food.
Remember, wheat, corn, soy, gluten, all those things are bad for your dogs.
Yes, and it will definitely increase the risk of bloat.
Right.
Going with grain-free is always good. Now, if your dog has a sour stomach like Katana does, then getting food with rice in it helps settle the stomach. Even though rice is a grain, it's typically not a real problematic grain. So that will help your dog's stomach soothe. But pay attention to the signs, them trying to burp, them trying to do stuff. If they're constantly salivating, they're restless and all of a sudden they don't want to move, give them to the vet, because in that way they can expel the gas. And with the stomach tacked where it's supposed to be and may it stay there, then the likelihood of them going in to relieve the gas without going for a full-blown major surgery is a lot quicker, a lot easier.
Well, I think that's pretty much the best of it all.
Oh,
you had something else.
Another way to help prevent bloat is if you have a large dog with the big barrel chest, normally happens all large dogs. I don't think I've really seen a small dog have this problem. But I have seen small dogs throw up their kibble because they ate too fast. That's a benefit of a slow feeder. But getting or makeshift some way of putting dog food up higher and their water up higher so that they're not elevated, their heads are not down so far that they're scarfing the food that way. If it's up higher, they can digest easier as they're eating too.
Yeah, because it's going downward. It's actually
in the natural
gravity.
way.
Yeah, gravity is actually doing the right thing instead of actually pushing up and over the hill. Yep. You can see that. Yeah. So kind of imagine your dog's head to the ground. It swallows. It's going kind of up and incline and then down.
You put your head down in a face full of food that's below your knees. How?
Hey! I like eating like that. That is my style. You are not going to change me, woman.
But make sure it's high enough to where it's off the ground, but low enough where they can get to it.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that concludes episode 97. Yes?
I think so.
All right, everybody. Well, I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
Oh, and I'm Sarah Green. I'm supposed to say something right now.
Hey, I didn't throw you off this time.
No, I read something. It caught my eye. Life is short. Play with your pet.
Claire?
Have a good day with your pet. Goodbye. Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.
Was without doubt worst episode ever. Rest assured that I was on the internet within minutes, registering my disgust throughout the world.